Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. We got beards, so listen clear. Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cause. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's cool. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Geeks with Beards podcast 2025. We have returned from our holiday break. We had Christmas, and we went through New Year's, and we had a little bit of a snowstorm, and a little bit under the weather, but we're back, guys, and we hope you guys had a great holiday season. Sean, did you have a good holiday season, Grinch?
Since I don't celebrate, it was great.
What about your New Year, man? Because that was also, if you don't mind me saying, that was also an anniversary for you as well. So how did that go for you?
It was good. I got talked into playing a show that night, so
That's right, you did, yeah.
So I did something smooth. We already borrowed the two bass players from the other bands because our bass player couldn't make it that night.
Right.
So then I sweet talked another band's guitars to come play a song we do, Storybook Love.
Yeah.
It's a Princess Bride cover.
Hell yeah.
And so while he did that song, I got to dance with my wife.
So I remember seeing the pictures online on social, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I won some brownie points that day.
You're working a show? What?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Have you read anything? Because now last time we were here was back before Christmas. So have you read anything since then, man?
Today.
Oh, today. All right.
I read a Two-Face comic.
I see that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's actually pretty good. So Harvey's got Two-Face under control, or so it seems when it starts out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running it's almost like a criminal court by the criminals.
Okay.
So he's representing Zaz for a murder that he actually didn't do.
I don't believe it.
Well, it's true.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's true.
Okay.
'Cause he didn't give himself a little slice mark. He didn't. Apparently, he gives the victim a slice mark too.
You see, okay, I'm gonna say I'm not that familiar with his ass since the '90s. With I don't remember what the story was. And that might have been his introduction because it's like one of the earlier Batman titles I remember Zaz was like in it. So it's been 30 years since I read about Zaz.
I don't know if that's always been the case, but that's the case in this book.
Okay.
And it turns out that it was a Falcone, like little minion, who murdered the person to kind of move up the ladder.
Okay.
And that's the whole point of this court. It takes place in the White Church is the name of the place.
White Church. Okay.
I'm not familiar with the place, but
No, man.
the judge was Judge Reaper.
Okay.
I guess that's one of the bottom tier villains.
Okay.
That was pretty good though. At the end, after the trial, Harvey gets him off. Two-Face is fighting with himself. Like the Two-Face part wants to come out, and Harvey's got him suppressed. He's like, no, we're going back to being the Attorney General.
Okay.
And Two-Face is like, that's not going to happen.
Now, I get, yeah, has it always been like that for Two-Face? Because I always felt like I understand that he had, two-faced. I get that. And the coin kind of makes his decision, but I didn't really remember the whole mental duality that he would go against with.
This might be more recent, but...
Okay. It's interesting. I like that, though, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he still does use the coin, I'm assuming, because it's on the cover, so...
He does, and, like, one of the girls that was at the trial figured out that it was the same on both sides. He's like, you know what? I got a job for you.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
So, yeah, that's one book, and then the other book is The Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah.
And this is the one where they find those newer mutants.
You were telling me about that, yeah.
Okay, well, it's going through Rogue. They found, like, an old farm. It's almost like a Walking Dead type situation. They're living on somebody's farm.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of raising the kids that way. Wolverine's like, I've got some stuff wrong with me. I'm out of here. So he's jetting out.
Did it get into that anymore on what it is?
No, he already had his bags packed, so I guess
Well, hopefully they'll delve into it more.
Well, in one of the other books, he left Scott, too, so I guess he's just going to have his own thing going on.
Everybody leaves Scott.
That's true. So, but the mutants themselves are actually pretty neat. One of them was born without a heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they can, if I remember right, that mutant can see between the death realm and the life realm, so it kind of makes it kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a comic book, but I'm just curious how it's even alive. But
Well, you got Nightcrawler who used to go between hell and
yeah, true. And I love the cover that he's actually on there. And what does it say? Catch the elf.
yeah.
I like that. I like they still use the elf. Yeah.
At the part I'm reading now, he's the one put in charge of training them, and Rogue's just kind of supervising.
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, he's great as far as combat goes, hand to hand with his swords and everything. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been reading. What you been reading?
Dude, I ain't read anything since that last shipment, but what I did read that I thought was amazing was it's a one shot from Dynamite, Thundercats Apex, and spoilers. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, you can shut it off right now and come back in about 2 minutes. But it's a one shot, and you get introduced to this character named Apex, and the timeline is about a year before the Thundercats land on Third Earth. And this character has the Book of Omens, which is one of the sacred artifacts of the Thundercats. It kind of tells their history and all that stuff. And he's on Third Earth, and he's walking around, and he's looking for a character named Mole Master. And he goes back to the original 80s cartoon. And so he's walking around asking different people and stuff on the planet, have you seen Mole Master? Have you seen Mole Master? And everybody's like, no, who are you to ask all this? He goes through a few people. Then he finally finds Mole Master, and you find out, it's way better than how I'm telling it, but you find out that this person, this Apex, is Lion-O from the future. And he has the Eye of Thundera, which is normally in the Sword of Omens. It's in his eye. It's one of his eyes now in his skull, because you can see when he wears a hood, normally you can't see his face. One of the eyes is glowing, and it's the Eye of Thundera because he pulls his hood off when Mole Master's like, well, who are you? And basically what it is he's from the future, and he has come to kill Mole Master because Mole Master has found a mine full of Thundranium. And for Thundercats fans, Thundranium, you guys know, is an element kind of like kryptonite for Superman. It makes them weak if they're around it for a long period of time. Probably could kill them if they're around it for a good amount. And basically, at this moment when Mole Master discovers this mine of Thundranium and starts to mine it, it's going to lead into events that will ultimately be the demise of the Thundercats. They'll end up being dead. And basically Mole Master asked him, before he tells who he is, he asked him, he's like, well, how do you know this is going to happen? He says, because I held my friends in my hands with their last dying breath, and I told them that I would make it right. I would fix this. So basically, he lops off Mole Master's head and takes over the mole people, which is basically what they are, like little mole guys. And it ends with him taking over the Thundranium mine. And it's just how it ends. And basically, his story and this story will pick up in the main series. And he has made a guest appearance one time and talked to Tigra one time.
I thought the eye thing sounded familiar. I thought you mentioned it before.
Yeah, he popped up in like a couple issues back and talked to Tigra. And so I'm curious where this is going to lead. And I'm like, okay, Declan Shalvey, I think that's how to pronounce his last name. He writes some of your Mystique comic, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah.
And artwork too, I think. But I'm like, you are planting some future seeds that I hope Dynamite keeps the license for a while so they can go into this. Because I'm really curious, even though he did come back in time and kill Mole Master, is there still some kind of event that might still possibly lead to the demise of the Thundercats, or something else that he might have to help? Because he's hanging around. I don't know how he got there. We don't know how he got there in the past, but he's still hanging around watching over the Thundercats. So maybe, I don't know if it's Mum-Ra, if it's somebody else. So, but that was the best that I read out of that last shipment. And the only other thing that was kind of cool and sad was in G.I. Joe #2 from Skybound is they killed a character named Rock and Roll. He's a big character in the G.I. Joe universe. And the Cobra just was able to weaponize Energon and make their classic laser rifles. Because G.I. Joe's still using real bullets right now. So Cobra troopers, Vipers show up. They start shooting the laser guns, and Rock and Roll's like, oh, I can take it. No, he don't take it. He dies.
The Starscream's still rolling around?
He's still rolling around. I get a new issue. This coming order of my comics coming in should be hopefully this weekend, if not next Monday. I get issue 16. So we'll see how the Combaticons and Starscream handle Optimus Prime. But all right then. we are going to jump into our first episode of 2025, and it's going to be 1996 Dark Horse Comics Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. It's a 4-issue miniseries. It takes place roughly a year after the 1995 Kaiju film Gamera, a similar title. I believe it's Guardian of the Universe. At least that's the American title, I believe. And it came out in 1995. It's written by Dave Chips, penciled by Mozart Kanto, and inks by Mike Sellers. And this is the first Dark Horse comic we've covered.
Yeah.
Probably one of the first ones I've read in a good long time. I think you might have let me borrow some Buffy or Angel years ago.
Yeah.
But I never was a big Dark Horse person. Never really had anything I was interested in.
Well, with all the Star Wars ads in there, I was like, I'm going to have to go back and pick up
I was getting ready to
some
say,
stuff.
96, that was when they still had the license, wasn't it? Yeah. So, we're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you real quick, because I let you borrow the movie and the comics. Give me a quick little thought on the movie. Then I'll ask you about the comics at the end.
Well, before I even start with that,
Okay.
the name is Gamera.
Gamera.
Okay, I was saying Gamora for
Oh,
some
no, you're
reason.
fine, yeah.
All right, so the movie, I scrolled through both of them.
Oh, okay, both of them. Well, I was going to say, you only had to do the first one, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I will say I'm not the target audience, obviously, because I Godzilla nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with any of that stuff.
Yeah,
But I will say the effects are really good. I don't do subtitles, so that was hard.
Right.
But I mean, it still held up. Like as far as the visuals and stuff go.
Yeah,
It looks like they did mostly practical effects.
they did. They did mostly practical effects. And like I said, the first one came out in 1995, and there had not been a Gamera movie. I could be wrong about this, and if I am, please correct me, listeners. There had not been a Gamera movie since 1980,
Okay.
and the 1980 one was basically a clip show movie.
Okay.
They basically just re-showed footage from the previous Gamera movies and added a couple of new characters in there, like some space. Like I think there were 3 women. They were like space aliens or something like that. I believe what it was. And they even took some footage from an anime and put in there. So the 1980 movie, people was like, eh.
So is this from the 70s? Is that
No, that's 1995.
okay? This movie's okay.
That
these-
movie was 1995. It was a trilogy. Well,
Okay.
technically 4. But previously,
Wow, really?
Yeah, they did a trilogy. Not I forget the exact years, but it started a trilogy, and then they did a 4th one in like 2004 or 5, I think it was, and then that was it. Originally, Gamera came out in 1965 or 66. I should have looked this up, but I
They
forgot.
matched
to.
that footage up perfect because I was could have sworn it was
Yeah.
from the 70s.
No. Well, now there might be. It's been a minute since I've watched those 2 films. There may be clips from some older films in there, but I don't remember 100%.
And I will say this,
Yeah.
not to interrupt you.
No, you're good, man.
The guys walking around in the suits, it reminds me a lot of Power Rangers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, Gamera, it came out around 65, 66. The first movie was black and white because the company that had done it was Dai Studios, and they didn't have the funding or the money like Toho did, who did Godzilla. And it was kind of not an answer to Godzilla, but they were basically like, hey, because Godzilla came out in 54, and by this time Godzilla had done 3 total films. He had done Godzilla in 54, Raids Again in 56, and Godzilla vs. King Kong in 65, 63. Oh my! I should have looked my kaiju dates up. I forget. But it's a little bit lower budget kaiju movie, and after the first one, they got into color, and they're more children friendly, or they get more that way because Gamera actually is considered friend to all children. Like he protects kids.
He comes
and
across
stuff.
as a good guy.
Yeah.
Was Godzilla a good guy?
Not originally.
Okay.
Not originally, no. But as the 60s and 70s went on, that's when he kind of had his goofy eras that people kind of talk about a lot, where he's dancing and hopping, scooting on his tail and stuff. That was the 60s and 70s. They made it more child friendly because they realized they probably could get a wider audience and maybe make a little bit more money if they opened it up to children, because the original movie was really dark because it was kind of their way of coping with their fear of atomic weapons and stuff because, of course, of World War II and stuff. So that's why they did the original film. And there's other reasons as well. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of if you want to use a toy analogy, Transformers to GoBots, it's kind of the Kmart Godzilla, I suppose. But there's a huge following for Gamera. I love it. I own all the films. But you can tell the quality is a little bit less. The suits are not as good. The effects are not as good. But that's part of the charm, the campiness to it. In my personal opinion, if you're a Kaiju fan, I think you kind of like it.
We can't all afford to shop at Target. We got to have some Dollar General in there.
No, that's very true. That's very true. So I'm glad that you got a little kick out of it.
Yeah, I at least enjoyed the time I had into it.
Yeah, sure, man. Sure. Like I said, yeah, when it comes to Kaiju stuff, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So yeah, we're going to jump into this. And like I said, this takes place storyline-wise about a year after the 1995 movie. So we open up on a guy named Lutz, and he owns a plane, and he used to be a pilot. And now he's kind of, bless him, he's kind of just running like a little tourist business now with his airplane. And he's got a little Chihuahua dog with him, trying to put like a little monster suit on him because he's got like a sign up there that says, hey, monster rides, get to see this monster or whatever. And the little dog just yipping at him and biting at him and everything, not kind of getting along with him. And we have a girl shows up, and her name is Asagi. And she is from the film. She's one of she's like the younger girl with the pendant on. Okay. She's actually a character from the film. I think she's in all three.
I was going to say, I seen her in the second one.
Yeah, I think she's in all three films, if I'm not mistaken. So she, excuse me, she shows up. She's from Japan, and she came to see a monster. And Lutz says, well, not really getting along with me right now, talking about the dog. But she's actually talking about Gamera. She just hasn't said it yet. So she asked for a plane ride to see the harbor lights at nighttime. And she tells Lutz that she's visiting with a friend of hers, Mayumi, who is an ornithologist, bird expert. And she was asked to come out by another scientist to see if she could help identify some droppings, some signs of maybe an extinct bird that might be around, which we'll find out that's a lie. Mm. That was a lie. But yeah, so she came out there kind of investigating a possible sighting of an extinct bird called the emerald-crested, I'm going to say Daplinger, Dappplinger, Daplinger. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Daplinger?
Yeah, sure.
But we find out that the scientist, who we'll find the name out here in a little bit, who had called her out there, you find out that it's not this extinct bird, that it's actually another kaiju, very evil kaiju that Gamera fought in the 1995 film and in his second film, I believe it is. And it's called Gauss. It's kind of a bird pterodactyl looking thing.
That's what I got from it, was a pterodactyl.
But in the movie, they kind of reference it almost like a vampire because it's a flesh-eating creature. It eats humans. But it's got like a laser beam that can come out of its mouth and stuff like that. So it's really cool. And so we find out later that that's actually what is out there that she went to investigate. And so Mayumi tells Miss Smith, who is the scientist who had her come out and investigate this, because once it shows her, if she's investigating, she sees these bird droppings, big pile of droppings, and there's human skulls in it. She's like, wait a minute. She's like, this ain't the blinger. She's like, this is a Gauss. She's like, what the hell? She's like, I thought Gamera destroyed all of them a year ago. And she tells the scientist, Miss Smith, who's the one who asked her to come out and look, she's like, this is Gauss. And she's like, it's already been feeding on humans. You can see the remains. It's going to attack Tokyo next. Tokyo's always attacked by the kaijus for some reason. I don't know why, but they always are. And she's like, look, Gauss attacked Tokyo a year ago. And Gamera was the only thing that can stop him. And if a Gauss is back, it's going to start up again. It's going to start attacking because it eats humans. It feeds on humans. We have to find him. So we cut back to Asagi and tells Lutz that she knows Gamera and that she has a kind of a psychic connection to him through an amulet. And it was an amulet that was given to her after being discovered on Gamera's back. Now, this is in the film. I can't if you remember it or not, because it shows like in the ocean and like these guys kind of like archaeologists or whatever on his back. And it's like almost like a stone tablet kind of totem kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in the film, I can't remember in the original movie, but in this one, they kind of hint that an ancient race of humans, almost like Atlantis maybe, had bioengineered Gamera kind of to protect the planet from Gauss and other evil that might arise to hurt humanity. So in the movie, I think it's her dad or a friend of her dad's, finds the amulet and gives it to her as a present, not knowing what it is. They have no clue what it is. And in the film, it allows her to have kind of a psychic link to Gamera. So when he feels pain, she physically can get hurt. She can kind of communicate to him and say, hey, we need your help here, or, something like that. So I'm glad they kept that going in the comic book. So Gamera, he wakes up. We see him, he's underwater. He wakes up because I guess kind of like Godzilla in the movies, he can kind of sense that Gauss might still be around. So he wakes up, and you find out that Miss Smith is actually I wrote my notes here, a demented biologist named Greta Carbone.
Oh, that bitch crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah. Who she finds out, because Mayumi asks her, she's like, well, how? Like, I seen Gamera destroy the Gauss in like this football stadium, and all, the government and everything, they collected all the remnants and the DNA and everything. She's like, how did you get DNA? Because you find out that Greta has been cloning Gauss, growing her own Gauss in tubes, and it either escaped or she let it out. Not 100% sure. The artwork kind of showed it looked like it might have escaped out of there, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, she cray-cray. Mm-hmm. And she ends up telling Mayumi, she tells her, she's like, oh, I stole some Gauss DNA from Tokyo to create my own super monsters. And Mayumi just like, what the, why? Mm. Why the hell would you do this? Knowing that Gauss is nothing basically but a killing machine, why would you do this? So we'll cut to Gamera, and the area that they're in, I'm probably going to kill this name too, Guanahota.
That sounds right.
That's what I'm going to. It could be made up. It might be real.
Guanahota.
Sure. Guanahota. And so Gamera shows up and he attacks Gauss. He's located Gauss. It's kind of like a little town, little city that they're in. And he attacks Gauss. He's already been destroying stuff, and he gets injured by Gauss. He gets kind of a cut on his arm, and as soon as he gets a cut on his arm, we cut to a panel, and Asagi gets a cut on her arm, again because of the psychic link. He physically gets hurt. She physically gets hurt. So yeah, she gets a cut on her, I think it's on her cheek. It's either her cheek or her arm. I forget now. Because Gamera gets injured. And basically the first issue of the comic ends with Gamera and Gauss fighting in Guanahota. And you just see like the people running, the citizens are running away from them while they're fighting. It's a great battle scene. The artwork in this is really good, I think.
That was my biggest takeaway was the artwork.
I did not research the artist, unfortunately, before we recorded, but I'm really satisfied with the artwork in this one. This is the first Gamera comic I've ever read. I'm sure there may be others, maybe in Japan or something, but that's the first one.
Mid-90s? It's pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, it's really good. It's really good. So we continue with issue 2, and it opens up with Lutz trying to find Asagi during the Gamera and Gauss fight, and why he's trying to find her is because at the end of the first issue, they're flying in the plane, and they kind of fly right into the battle of Gamera and Gauss. Kind of causes them to crash land or whatever, like he's got to land, an emergency land to get out of the way. Because think about it. You're flying a little bitty plane, and you come up on these huge, giant monsters fighting. You ain't going to stay up there.
Nope.
You're going to I'm getting on the fucking ground. So he's looking for her. And instead of finding her, he finds the amulet on the ground. He finds her and takes her closer to Gamera so she can help him fight Gauss. Because like I said, he doesn't really need help, but I guess she can kind of guide him a little bit, maybe warn him or whatever, So she tells Gamera to, physically to use a tanker and burn Gauss, and it's like a fuel tanker. So he does that. Gamera basically kind of tosses it at Gauss, and Gamera's power is mainly fire breath. His fire breath is his main weapon, to where Godzilla's got like his atomic breath. So he uses his fire breath on the tanker, boom, blows it up, sets it ablaze, kills Gauss, burns him to a crisp, burns Gauss. So that's another great artwork, great scene to see in that one. Gauss is gone. A little quick, but again, it's only 4 issues, so you got to kind of go through your monsters a little bit there. Mm-hmm. After that happens, Lutz finds the amulet laying on the ground close to Asagi, and she's going to be taken away by an ambulance. And so he takes the amulet that was left behind, and he kind of gets a little selfish, a little shady this time around, because he's thinking to himself, well, I can either give this back to Asagi, which is the right thing to do, or I can hang on to it to myself, and maybe I can use it to control Gamera and help out my monster flying business. And I'm just like, you dirty. So he does take the amulet. He takes the bad road. And we cut to Mayumi, and we find out that Greta, the crazy woman, has a kind of a helper, but yet he loves her, kind of is her lover as well. And his name is Gusano, kind of the muscle of the group. And he tells they've got Mayumi tied up, and he tells Mayumi, he's like, it'd be easier if you just agree to help Greta and not fight against her. Not go against her, just help her out, do what she wants you to do, and help her out. Greta's watched the news or whatever, and she comes and tells Mayumi that Gamera has killed Gauss. So, hey, no harm, no foul. No harm, no foul.
You're fine.
Yeah, it's okay. It might have killed a few people. It's okay. He's, it's dead now. It's good. But Mayumi still blames her for all the death and destruction that Gauss caused, because, like I said again, Gauss, bad news. So Greta says that she is creating a controllable beast, not vicious wild animals. So basically, she thinks if she can when she grows these creatures, she can control them and tell them what to do.
She's psycho.
Never works out that way. There's various movies that things like this has happened.
Because at this point, she's around like the tanks that has the monsters in it, right?
Yeah, they're in her lab, in Greta's lab, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what she's trying to tell her. She's like, look, I'm going to make them where they'll listen to me. They're not going to be vicious beasts. They'll be control. I can control them, tell them what to do, what not to do. And Mayumi just like, no, it ain't how it works. These creatures are beyond your control. So after she leaves, Mayumi starts having a little bit of small talk with Gusano. She's like, how did you meet Greta? How did you get involved with this crazy woman? And he says that he met her at a club, of course, and started helping her out. But he noticed that she started changing her attitude a little bit. She didn't really start out this way at the beginning. She still was kind of doing the research and stuff, but she wasn't as obsessed with it to the level that she is now, to where basically human life doesn't matter to her. Only her having the power over these monsters matters to her. And he said he noticed her attitude started changing, and you find out that another Gamera villain that he fought, named Virus, kind of a octopus squid looking monster. She created it as well. She's created almost every one of these kaiju that's in the comic book series here. That you find out that Virus is actually controlling her. And that is a thing that Virus can do in the films. And I think in the movie was an alien, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And it has like mind control powers, like psychic powers. So he can control the minds of lesser beings, I say in quotations, kind of mind control them. And you find out that even though she did create Virus, now that Virus has somewhat matured, Virus is controlling her for its own purposes.
It's kind of like the whole Venom situation.
Kind of, yeah. And I don't think she's aware of it. It didn't seem like she is in the whole 4 issues. I don't think she's aware that Virus is in control. I don't think. Basically, what Virus's plan is control her, and through her, defeat Gamera and enslave the human race. Basically, that's basically what Virus wants to do. So Mayumi, as Gusano's kind of not paying attention to her, Mayumi, she decides, well, you know what? I've got to get out of here. I got to warn people what's going on. So she starts an explosion inside the lab because, there's all kinds of chemicals and stuff in the lab, So she's able to break loose, and because they had her like tied to a chair or whatever, and so she ends up breaking loose, creates an explosion, and she escapes. You'd think that, or at least I did, I thought, well, I don't know if, Greta and Gusano made it out of there or not, but they did. They made it out of there. And the only monster that they rescue out of there is Virus. And again, that's because Virus has got control over her. So Virus is like, get me the hell out of here. You better get me the hell out of here. Lutz, bless his heart, he ends up crashing his plane again. He ends up crashing it in the ocean. And he's picked up by the French authorities. And they think that he is a member of a group called the NVA. And it's basically an extremist environmental group. I don't know why they put that in the comic, but okay, whatever. I guess to give Lutz something else to do. So the French government, they think he's part of this extremist group, so they arrest him. You find out that the French government was doing nuclear testing in the ocean. Their nuclear testing creates yet another one of Gamera's enemies from the original movies, Zegra, kind of a shark-looking creature in a way. And I think it's probably one of the best-looking creatures besides Virus from the films. I think it is. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it in the 90s movies because they create all new original creatures for like the second and third movie. But there was a Netflix anime series that came out, I think it was a year or two back. They reintroduced some of the classic villains back in that cartoon. That was actually really good.
I was going to ask where this fit in the timeline. You said it takes place after this movie.
It takes place roughly a year after the 1995 movie.
Okay,
yeah.
But it's all connected, like to the older stuff and to the newer stuff?
No, it's only connected to the 1995
Just
film.
to this, okay.
Yeah, because kind of like how... Well, no, not really like how, because the Godzilla timeline is weird, how they do stuff. Because some Godzilla movies connect to 54, some don't. This one it's basically a retelling of the Gamera storyline for the 90s, basically, is what it is.
Okay.
And a lot of people like these more than the originals. Again,
To each their own?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, each their own. So we see Zegra. Like I said, Zegra's pretty cool. He's like this fish, shark-looking creature, kind of gray, silver-looking, just going through the ocean. Thanks, France. And so we end the issue with an alien lady on a spaceship, and she's getting some kind of alert, but we don't know what the alert is just yet. But we'll find out what the alert is. And I'm just like, yeah, there were alien ladies like in the 1980 movie and stuff like that, but it's like they're throwing a lot of information at you in these 4 issues.
There was a lot of stuff in there.
Almost each issue is almost one per villain, almost, but they didn't get all the villains in there because Gamera's got 6 or 7 creatures that he fights. But they put some good ones in there, though. So we go into our 3rd issue, and we open up with Mr. Lutz. He's having a nightmare about Zegra. And the nightmare is basically Zegra is killing him. It's attacking him and Asagi. And he wakes up from his nightmare, and he's still in jail. He's in Paris. He's in a holding cell. So then we go to Gusano and Greta, Dr. Carbone. They're in a submarine. I'm sure, okay, we got a submarine somehow. And Virus is now fully grown. I don't think any time skipped. I guess Virus just grew really fast, I guess. And basically Virus has taken over her mind, Greta's mind, and he wants the amulet that Asagi uses to communicate with Gamera to rule the world, basically, because again, he's a psychic monster. The amulet gives a psychic connection to Gamera, so Virus is like, use the amulet, use Gamera, take over the world. Basically Virus' plan. Yeah, kind of simple, but
pretty solid.
Pretty solid, actually. Yeah, actually pretty solid. So yeah, so they're going to do that. That's Virus' plan to do that so he can communicate with Gamera to take over the world. They trace the amulet. I don't remember if it tells how, but they end up tracing it to Paris to where Lutz has it, and they go looking for it. And Mayumi visits Lutz in jail. Again, I don't remember it saying how she finds him, but somehow she finds him. And she's asking him if he knows Gusano or Carbone. And he's like, no, I don't know those names whatsoever. I don't know who these people are you're talking to me about. And he tells her about Zegra attacking earlier and fighting Gamera. Gamera did show up. I forgot to mention that. He does show up and fight Zegra. But Zegra beats him. And that is a thing in the movies, in the original films. When Gamera will show up, fight the monster, gets beat, goes and heals, comes back, then beats the monster the second time.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah. So that's a thing. They kept it in the comics, too. So Gamera fights Zegra. He gets injured, but then he returns, and it shows in the book, I think he goes under the ocean for a little while, kind of heals up from his wounds, and he comes back and he kills Zegra. Drops him in a volcano, which I thought was pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
So, boom, Gauss is gone, Zegra is gone, 2 down. And we've got Virus left, is who we've got left right now. And we find out that Gusano, he has pretended to be a guard, and he's been standing there listening to this whole conversation. And it's like, how in the hell did you... How'd you get in here, dude? And how did Mayumi not notice you? Granted, his back was kind of toward him. But, like, he's been pretending to be a guard. And, of course, after they get done talking, he grabs the amulet, because Lutz has got it with him, steals the amulet. And then, as he's leaving and they're trying to stop him, we basically get a Star Trek moment, kind of like a transport beam comes down and transports Mayumi and Lutz, and it's to the alien ship. And we find out that the alien's name, her name is Freena. And she speaks English, of course. I love how they do these things. Basically, she's learned how to speak English, but she speaks slang. 90s slang.
That threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. She speaks 90s slang because she's watched a lot of TV. And she says, also, because it's closest to her native language. Honey, what planet are you from that you talk native slang from Earth?
That's rad, bro.
That's rad. Cool your jets. And she tells Mayumi and Lutz, she tells them that Zigra escaped from her planet or whatever, and that she was hired to find him. So Zigra, and again, most of Gamera's enemies usually are aliens, to where a lot of Godzilla's creatures that he fights, his kaiju enemies, usually are from Earth, except for a handful of them. But I think most of Gamera's are always aliens, I believe.
So you keep using this word kaiju. What does that mean?
Oh, that's just a Japanese reference for monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the Japanese word. So she's been hired to come and find Zigra because Zigra escaped. She didn't know Zigra's dead yet. She hadn't figured that out yet, but she will. So they're flying in her ship, and they happen to run into Virus. And at this moment, Virus and Gamera are fighting. But the thing is that when they shoot a missile at Virus, Gamera jumps in front of it, and he takes the blast. And Mayumi, she's like, Gamera would never do that. Why would Gamera help Virus, one of his, biggest enemies? Why would he do that? Has Gamera turned evil? I'm like, you know better than to jump that conclusion. You know Gamera. He's not going to just be evil. And basically what's happened is Gusano stole the amulet, so now they're controlling him. So yeah, Mayumi thinks that Gamera is helping Virus, but in reality you find out that, again, Virus is controlling Gamera through the amulet that Gusano took away from him. And we open up with our last issue, and this, if she wasn't already crazy, this made you already know she was crazy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But again, this is actually Virus through her. So I bless her heart on this one, because this is Virus through her. But it opens up with Greta. She's on, I think, the Eiffel Tower, or she's on a tower, some kind of radio tower or something.
She's like braided her hair and everything.
Dude, her hair is out there, looks like octopus tentacles or something like that, dude. And like it's electricity's kind of coming off of her. She's got the amulet around her neck. And she's telling Gusano that Virus is using the amulet and its mind powers to control Gamera. And you find out basically how which Virus could have done this anyway, but you find out that when she was growing him in the tube, she injected some of her, not brain matter, but I guess maybe some of her DNA or something, I guess. So there's a little bit of a biological connection as well. I think it made it easier for Gamera to take over her mind that way. So they're using the amulet and Virus's mind power to control Gamera. And soon Paris will fall, and then all of humanity will become Virus's, and he will do what he wants. Eat them, probably. I don't know. Make them slaves,
Man, a little both.
Everybody wants to take over the Earth. It's a great planet, but everybody wants to take it over.
That's because everybody's pissed off that Pluto's not a planet.
Look, I just listened to another podcast the other day, and I'm going to call them out real quick. Give Me Back My Action Movie podcast, and I agree with one of the hosts on there. Pluto's a planet, damn it. I'm going to keep that.
According to, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Did they not? I know they unnamed it, but did they not re-put it back as a planet, though?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
No?
Yeah.
Well, I say it's a planet.
They had another name for it.
We're not scientists, people. I'm just, bless us.
Well, we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that. So anyway, Virus wants to take over humanity. Classic villain thing to do. But Mayumi tells Frina, she's like, look, teleport me to the tower so I can get the amulet off of Greta's neck and try to stop this, because if I can get the amulet away from her, maybe Gamera can get free of Virus's mind control powers. So she does, and she gets teleported, but she almost falls, but Gusano grabs her. And Gusano, he's pleading with Mayumi. He's telling her, he's like, please. He's like, I love Greta. Can you do anything to help her out? You know, if it means taking the amulet, defeating Virus, you know, I don't want anything to happen to her. So he tries to stop Greta, and Gusano actually takes the amulet away from her. He actually rips it off of her neck. And unfortunately, I guess this is because Virus has got control of her, she actually leaps for it. She tries to leap for the amulet, leap for his hand, and she misses it, and she dies. She basically leapt to her death. So, bye-bye, Greta.
I mean, she had it coming.
Well, but how much of it? Again, Virus had control of her mind, so I wonder, was there anything of Greta
even
there?
Before, like when it was still swimming around in a little tube, she's like obsessed about it.
That is true. But I just wonder, though, again, I don't know my Virus that well. I do know he is psychic. Maybe even though a little bit, he might have been sprinkling thoughts in her head, maybe.
She was still willing.
She was still crazy, though. She was probably still crazy.
She was letting him in. She's like, come on, daddy.
But I feel like when Gusano was telling Mayumi that her attitude started changing, I wonder if it's when Virus came into being that he didn't mess with her head, maybe. Do an Xavier thing a little bit and put some suggestions in her mind, maybe.
I won't rule it out.
That's what I'm thinking, maybe. I don't know. So Greta leaps to her death, unfortunately. Gusano jumps after her. And at this moment, I thought Gusano had died himself. It appears that he died, because basically when he leaps after her, he's leaping into fire and explosion and stuff like that. Because he loves her. Or he loved the woman that he first met. And Frina's ship is overheating. So she's going to have to try to keep it from crashing. And Lutz is trying to help her because, he can fly a plane. So he's like, spaceship's probably just the same as a plane. I'm sure I can fly this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I can fly. I'm sure I can help keep it from crashing.
No problem. I got this.
But it still crashes. They still can't stop it from crashing.
So he's pretty much like Launchpad McQuack.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to have to rewatch the first film. I don't think he was in there. I think he was just put in the comic books.
Maybe with a cross of Tailspin. Just put them together.
Any crash you can walk away from is a good... Yeah, I don't know. The character, he's not necessary for the story, but he's fun to read, I guess. But so anyway, so the ship still crashes. Gamera appears to be free from Virus's mind control, but he is still injured because the military attacked Gamera. Because in all these monster films from Japan, the military always shows up and attacks first, even though Gamera. They know Gamera's a good guy, which now in the film, he is still a good guy, but he kind of doesn't care if he destroys stuff in a way. He's kind of
like the Avengers.
He's kind of the not. It's hard not to. When you're that huge of a monster, it's hard not to destroy stuff, unfortunately.
I mean, the humans should build it bigger.
I mean, it comes up to his navel, I guess, or whatever,
Yeah.
So the military's, they've been shooting rockets and stuff at him and Virus, so he's still injured, not mortally, but he's still hurting a little bit. So so he starts fighting Virus. He goes toward the crashed ship, and he's going to consume fire. It helps him heal a little bit. If I remember right in the films, it helps him kind of heal, help him power up if he can consume fire. Kind of like how in some of the Godzilla movies, he lives off of nuclear radiation. A good example of that is from the 1984 movie Return of Godzilla, where he actually goes to a nuclear power plant and you see him like sucking in the nuclear radiation power. Gamera does the same thing with fire. So if he eats fire, ingests fire, it kind of repowers him and heals him a little bit. And Gusano appears. He survived the fall. I don't know. Greta didn't, but he survives the fall. And there's like some kind of engine. I don't know if it's like a rocket engine or something. I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he tosses it at Gamera. I'm like, how are you picking this up? This thing looks bigger than you. Are you like superhuman or something? But he tosses it at Gamera, and it allows Gamera to consume the fire, and it allows him to power up so he can fight Virus. which he does. After he powers up, he attacks Virus, and he takes him, and he whops him on top of that tower, and he impales him. He shish kebabs Virus right on top of the tower, man.
Like, done.
Oh, you should watch some of the old movies. It's so funny on how he kills some of them. But yeah, he takes Virus, he whops him on top of the tower, he shish kebabs him like right through the tower. Boom, Virus is gone. He's killed Virus. And kind of like how Godzilla does, once he defeats the enemies, he's like, all right, peace out, I'm good. So, so Gamera, he flies away. And after he defeats Virus, he flies away. They kind of wrap up the story here real quick. Lutz gets his freedom from the French government. They're just like, we know you're not part of this crazy group anymore. Bye-bye, you're free to go. Bye-bye. And they thank them for helping save Paris from Virus. And they thank Mayumi, they thank him. And he finds the amulet again that was dropped on the ground. But no Greta body. The amulet survives. No Greta body. So either she burned up or she didn't die. Because Gusano survived somehow. I don't know how he survived.
We're waiting for the sequel.
But he survived. I don't know if they did a sequel. I had to look up and see. I don't know if they did any more or not.
I got the answer to that. We'll wait.
Awesome. Sweet.
Continue.
I'm the kaiju guy and I didn't research this. That's my bad on that one. So he finds the amulet on the ground and he has a little bit of an inner monologue yet again. Should I return this to Asagi or should I keep it for myself and see if I can make some money? And he kind of looks at himself. He's like, is it worth getting into trouble? And it ends with him just a big grin on his face. So I would say he probably hung on to it for a little while.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He probably hung on to it for a little while. He probably got into some trouble. That adventure will have to be for another time. If you said if it did do a sequel, that adventure I have to wait till another time maybe.
Okay, well, first of all, Pluto is a dwarf planet.
Dwarf planet. So see, it still is a planet.
It doesn't count as a planet.
Planet's in the name.
It's a mini one.
Dwarf. Is that politically correct?
When discussing planets, yes.
Okay.
All right, so Gamera, guess what? Or Gamera, my bad. This is it. This is the only thing they've ever done.
Don't make Marvel sue you over using one of their names.
So, oh yeah. They didn't even put a paperback out of this.
Okay.
My opinion on it.
Yeah.
The only, what was the word? Kaiju?
Kaiju. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
the
just
only
or
stuff,
monster, either one. Yeah.
Well, I want to be politically correct. When I use it.
That's fine, dude. It don't matter. Yeah.
The only two things I've ever seen, period, was the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. Hey, it was good at the
That's
time.
not Godzilla. That's Zilla.
It said Godzilla.
I know.
It had the eye on the cover. And the newer first one, the one with the dude from Breaking Bad.
Oh, the 2014 one from Legendary Pictures. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That one's pretty good too. As somebody that's only had that experience, not bad.
Yeah.
The story was pretty decent. The art was phenomenal.
Yeah, I love the artwork. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say if you're any kind of fan of any of that stuff, you're gonna love this comic.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the writer. Chips. This was my first Dark Horse comic, other than, like I said, those ones you let me borrow years ago. So I have no idea. I didn't look him up, unfortunately. But I think the writing was decent. The art was really good. I think they captured the 90s version of Gamera really well, and his other monster enemies.
And it's written like mid-90s, and they're trying to pack a lot of stuff in there.
In 4 issues. There's a lot of information for it. That's why he kills the other monsters quickly, because it is only 4 issues. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you could do an ongoing series or not. I think IDW and stuff has done it with Godzilla a little bit.
They'd be better like 6-issue like arcs.
Yeah, that might be what IDW with Godzilla. I don't know.
Kind of like
100%.
Carnage or that type of stuff.
Yeah, I would love to see. Now, again, I failed you, my fellow kaiju fans. I didn't research a lot about this. I don't know publication wise who has the U.S. rights to Gamera. You might have information. It'd be really nice to see an updated thing. Do like what IDW's been doing with Godzilla and do crossovers with other things.
Well, they can, because some of the stuff I found was illustrations of both Godzilla and Gamera. So
and see,
together.
people have wanted that, but they just have never been able to come together in Japan to bring that to happen. Either Toho doesn't want to, or the other studio doesn't want to, or it's just legalities. I don't know. I'd love to see a Gamera not necessarily Gamera versus Godzilla, but maybe Gamera and Godzilla, kind of how they've done it with Godzilla and Kong. But maybe one of these days we haven't had a Gamera movie for 20 years, so I don't know.
Well, it might be becoming public domain at some point.
I was gonna say the newest thing, like I told you earlier, the newest thing we had for Gamera was a Netflix anime series. It's like I forgot how many episodes it was. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's worth watching if you like this kind of things like this. So.
Yeah, I guess that's my overall thought. It's like, it's not going to change your mind if you're not into it, but
Yeah.
if you are, you're going to like it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I knew you hadn't had much exposure to this kind of stuff. It's more my thing. But I wanted to give it a shot and see what you thought about it, because I knew you had watched a couple of Godzilla movies, more modern ones, but I knew you'd watched a couple. So I thought, well, we'll give it a shot and see what you think about it.
Yeah, if you're okay with Power Rangers, you're going to like it too, because same.
I mean, hey, man,
Yeah.
It's awesome, I think. Yeah.
The issues, if you go buy them because you can't get it any other way, they're around like $6-7 a piece. So.
Yeah, I had went, and I've had these for a long time. I can't remember exactly when I got them. I had got them from mycomicshop.com is where I got mine from, these 4 issues. So, yeah, definitely worth it, like Sean said. And like I said, if you're a Kaiju fan, if you like Gamera, Godzilla, Ultraman, all that stuff like that from Japan, Power Rangers, definitely worth a read, so. But it surprised me they didn't do a paperback. Well, 4 issues. I guess they wouldn't, though.
I guess it just didn't circulate well.
Maybe
they
it
did
may
in
not
Japan.
have.
All my research was just for the U.S. So
Okay.
There may be.
It may not have sold well. I don't know. I know that we had a comment on our Facebook page. Someone had said that they had actually recently been looking for those that they wanted to read them. So some people out there want to read it. So
Yes.
I mean, that's a good thing. I'm happy to hear about that. To kind of give books like this a little bit of exposure that may have not got exposure before. That's kind of what I'd like to do on here, is do some stuff a little more non-mainstream sometimes. Still keep the good shit coming, but we'll do some non-mainstream every once in a while too, though.
We're going to branch out eventually.
You damn right.
Let's see. We didn't have any questions, but I do have a question.
Okay.
I asked this on one of the things. What are you looking forward to this year, entertainment-wise?
Entertainment-wise?
Comics, movies, games, don't matter.
Let's see. Well, games, unfortunately, I don't really play games that much. So games, I'll have to say, because the gaming bug hits me in waves, and right now the wave is very low. So gaming-wise, I'm not really anticipating anything. Movie-wise, I'm kind of curious about the new Captain America movie that's coming out next month. I'm kind of curious about that, to see how that movie goes. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. There's a new He-Man movie coming out. I don't think it's this year. It might be next year. But TV-wise, there's not really much on TV right now that I watch a whole lot that I'm interested in, to be truthful with you on that one. Comic book-wise, Dynamite's getting ready to do a Silverhawks comic. They got the publication rights for Silverhawks, which is another 80s toy brand and cartoon that were done by the exact same people that did Thundercats. So for Dynamite to have the Thundercats license and now the Silverhawks license, I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for the continuation of the Thundercats story, to see where it goes. Transformers, G.I. Joe. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Sumerian Press, the ones who did the Crow book that we've been getting, reprinting it, I think they're going to be reprinting another 3-issue story.
They are.
That O'Barr did. I think it's not technically a sequel, but it's the second one after the one we just got. And I'm anticipating that one because it's going to be our first female Crow.
Yes.
It'll be the first female Avatar, and I'm curious about that story. So I'm waiting to pick that up, and I think it's going to drop sometime this year.
That'd be a good one.
What about you, man? What are you kind of anticipating media-wise?
Let's see. Games, I'm looking forward to, hopefully they get a new Fable out, and we'll see if that's any good.
I played the original one whenever it was, years and years ago. My brother's a big fan of the Fable games, yeah.
Yeah, second one's my favorite. Let's see. Movies, I watched that Superman trailer. We'll talk about it here in a second.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sonic 3, because we're going through a big Sonic phase now.
Yeah, you posted on our Discord it's going to be dropping, in a couple of weeks on Paramount Plus, I believe?
I think so. It said digitally. I hope that's what it meant.
Maybe it might be Voodoo first or something
Yeah,
to pay for
like
it.
for rent.
Yeah, damn it.
Um,
Yeah, I'll amend my thing. Yeah, I forgot Sonic. Yeah, I want to watch Sonic 3 too
Yeah,
this year. Yeah,
that's gonna be good. TV shows, I don't really watch TV. The Skeleton Crew's been getting really good. Jude Law, he's an asshole in this show.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's like a bounty hunter, you said, or whatever?
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's pretending to be a Jedi.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So he's, at the point I'm at in the newest episode, spoilers, he's taking the kids, and he told them if they tell anybody, he's going to murder their parents with the lightsaber.
What the hell?
Yeah, so he's actually taking over this whole planet.
Well, I'm glad it's actually keeping your attention and staying good, man.
It really is.
Yeah, I'm glad about
And
that.
it's making me go through a Star Wars phase again. Because we started up Clone Wars for the third run.
Yeah.
And then this year they're putting Revenge of the Sith back in theaters for the 20th anniversary.
Ooh,
So
very nice.
we're gonna
very
watch
nice.
it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so anything Star Wars I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Superman trailer. Okay.
Oh, yes, the teaser that came out. Yeah.
The only thing I liked about it was Crypto.
And Crypto was cool. Does it bug you that it's, well, the trailer he's CG, but I wonder if there'll be any actual real
Nah, that
dog.
didn't bother me. We just talked about Sonic. I don't care about
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah.
You can do more, especially since he's got superpowers and
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
And this will be the first live action Crypto.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he's been in some animation stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this will be the first live action Crypto.
The dude that plays Superman, we'll see when the whole movie comes out.
It's hard to tell from this teaser,
Yeah. And I don't usually watch trailers, full disclosure, because of this reason.
Yeah.
I don't like going in with preconceived notions, but
I mean, Gunn was just flashing so much at us in this teaser anyway, so it's
It
really
was.
hard to get a really good grip on the actor playing Superman. So,
it just looks to me like who's the guy that plays Spider-Man now?
oh, Tom Holland.
Yeah. To me, it seems like if he was playing Superman, that's what this guy kind of seems like, look-wise.
Okay.
Just look-wise.
Okay. I'm assuming this won't be an origin story. That basically.
Oh, no. They've already got Crypto and
Yeah,
Guy
so
Gardner
it'll
and-
already be. He'll already probably be there for. I don't know how many years, probably. I guess.
Yeah.
So he'll already be established hero on Earth. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't do flashbacks or anything. It's just like, go.
Yeah, I don't know, because you see the one scene in the teaser, you see him sitting with, I'm assuming it's Jonathan Kent.
Yeah. Well,
I'm assuming
they're
that's who
still
that
around,
is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just curious if he might change it up to where Jonathan's alive and Martha's dead, or if it maybe it's hard to tell from the teaser again. I'm
Well, in the
assuming
comics, they both were alive.
yeah.
So
I'm assuming it's Jonathan Kent. It could not be. It could be just some random person he's sitting on a porch with. I don't know.
that is true too.
I haven't read anything about it because I don't want to know too much.
Yeah. Same.
What do you think about the suit? From what you saw of it.
I thought it was all right.
Kind of gave me Captain America First Avenger vibes, kind of that
Yeah.
denim
Yeah.
kind of look in a way.
I liked it better than Brendan Routh's.
Only thing I hated about that suit was the S was too small.
The little tiny S's.
Yeah, the chest shield was too little
Yeah.
because Brendan's got a pretty broad chest.
Yeah.
So when they brought him back on the CW for the Crisis on Infinite Earths, when he was, I guess, Kingdom Come Superman, maybe?
Yes.
He actually had a very, very accurate size shield on his chest. I think that looked better on him.
Yeah.
I didn't like the size of the S shield. It's too small. His ties was a little too tight.
Hey, I mean, you gotta show it off sometimes.
I mean, Brian Singer, but
True.
But I think Brendan embodied, because his Superman was supposed to be Christopher Reeve's version.
Yeah.
5 years later, I believe it was,
Yes.
from second movie.
Yeah.
So I think he embodied it. He resembled quite a bit. Overall, I think that movie was good. It's just the suit failed, unfortunately. The design choices that they went with, I think, failed that film a little bit. But other than that, I think the story was decent. Spacey did an amazing job as Luthor, I think.
Yeah.
The child thing,
Yeah.
can come and go. I mean, I love, the Superman Lois TV show, and he's got 2 kids.
See, I've always been nitpicky
So-
about him having kids. It just doesn't do it for me.
Because in the comic, does he just have one son in the comic, I wonder?
The last time I read it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
They brought all that back.
what do you think about young Beast being Luthor? The actor that played Beast in the X-Men First Class being Luthor.
I'm okay with that.
I think it looks pretty
Yeah.
good. I think he can bring some intensity to it.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of praise right now from Nosferatu. He's in that. So I think he's getting a lot of praise for that. So I'm excited to see what his Luthor can do, what he brings to the role, I think.
Yeah.
What else did we see in that trailer? We saw Hawk Girl.
Yeah.
We saw Mr. Fantastic. Or no, sorry, Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Fantastic.
Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Terrific. And we got to see our first Green Lantern since Ryan Reynolds' movie, theatrically.
He's already better.
People was making fun of his look, but
That's how he looks.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
If
you
he
want your
didn't look
comic
like that-
accuracy, people.
You guys would be bitching because he didn't
Yep.
look like that. So you just accept it.
Guy Gardner has and I can't say always, but a majority of his time that I remember reading him, he has always had that haircut, that bowl cut, whatever you want to call it. He's always had that look.
And I'm making a prediction. 1, Crypto's going to steal the show.
Okay.
2, everybody's going to love Guy Gardner.
It's a possibility.
That's my 2 predictions.
I don't know. I think this is the first time Guy Gardner has been depicted in live action. I think it's always either been Kyle Rayner. No, always been Kyle Rayner, or not Kyle Rayner, excuse me, Hal Jordan. See, because Ryan Reynolds did Hal Jordan. Well, we could kind of say John Stewart in a way because Diggle kind of almost
We're not
became
counting
Green
that.
Lantern.
They screwed all that shit
Green
up.
Lantern.
Thanks, Arrow.
Yeah, and I guess in Smallville, was it Smallville? They touched on the Justice Society a little bit,
They did. They showed.
but I don't remember who the actor was. But they did show Alan Scott Green Lantern, I think, didn't they?
They showed some of his stuff, I want to say.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Like
his
in the
power ring
case.
and his battery or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
The battery, I want to say.
Still technically representation, I suppose, though. So, and I don't know. Again, we don't know the story of it. We're not going to look it up right now. I may not watch another trailer. I don't know, but I don't know if this is going to be trying to say, hey, there's a Justice League coming to help Superman do something, or Superman forming a Justice League. I don't even know who the villains are of the story besides Luthor. So I don't know. Superman's fighting somebody in a stadium. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Rumors is it might be was it Ultraman? Is that his name? From the evil version of him from the crime syndicate. I don't know. I hope Gunn's not throwing too much in at one time. Hell, the movie might be 3 hours long. I don't know. I just feel like in a way he's kind of tossing too much. But again, it's a teaser. These other characters might be in there for a total of 15 minutes in the film, and that's it.
Or they could not even be in it at all.
They could not, because a lot of things that's in teaser trailers are not in the final film.
Yeah.
So we'll just see how
That would be awesome.
We'll see how test audiences take to this stuff like that, because I think there's been some mixed reviews here and there. I just hope they don't have to go through the so many different reshoots and stuff that the new Captain America has allegedly gone through. Apparently that movie's went through several reshoots, supposedly that it's ballooned that budget. Rumor has it to be almost $500 million.
Gosh.
That's just rumors. I cannot confirm that. If that's true in today's market, that movie's going to have to make at least $1 billion to break even. And I just don't know in today's market if it can make that or not.
Not the way they've been going.
Now, I love Anthony Mackie. I think he does a great job. I loved him in the Twisted Metal TV show. He's a good actor.
That was a phenomenal TV show.
I can't wait. I hope that comes back. I hope
It
it comes
is.
back.
They already, I want to say they finished filming season 2.
Hell yeah. I love Anthony Mackie. I think he can do a great job. I think he did a great job as Falcon. I didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I think he can do a great job as Captain America. Harrison Ford as Ross.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a
see
shot. I'll give it a shot. That's fine. Are you going to be as good as William Hurt was?
No.
Probably not. But I think you're going to do okay. It's just going to depend on the story and the writing.
Yeah.
It really is. They've already had changed the title of the movie, supposedly, from New World Order to Brave New World. Brave New World, I think. So anyway, I like the teaser. I'm excited. I like Gunn, what he's done with the Guardian, so I'm excited to see what he does with Superman. And we'll just have to see. Maybe, I'm sure we'll at least get 1 or 2 more full-length trailers before the film comes out, because I think it drops in July of this year. So that's probably my biggest excitement movie-wise right now that I know of that's coming out.
That makes sense. This will be the 90th anniversary of DC Comics, too.
90, ooh.
Yeah.
And I like I'm looking at your Two-Face comic right now. I don't keep up with DC. When did they go back to the classic logo? Was it after 52?
I guess every one I've picked up in the last few years had that.
Okay, because like I said, I don't read DC or Marvel, and I just now looked and noticed the classic logos back on there.
And the all-in thing's a tie-in to AEW. They were promoting it.
Is it really?
Because Warner Brothers owns.
Oh, that's right. I remember them. I think on their banners on one episode of Dynamite, it had the DC. Was it to do with the absolute universe or something? Okay.
Yeah,
I remember seeing clips of that where the DC stuff was running on their banners at a Dynamite episode. Okay.
Because they've been on TBS and TNT and HBO, and Warner owns all that stuff. So
now AEW is streaming on Max, right?
Yeah.
They're on Max now.
Yeah,
okay.
HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. So yeah, that was our first episode of 2025. I hope you enjoyed it. Coming from a Japanese kaiju monster fan, I hope you guys enjoy this. And I'm glad Sean got a little bit of enjoyment out of it. Man, I can't wait for this year. We don't plan ahead, so we just.
I do have one more thing.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Comic wise,
Yeah.
The Batman comic I was reading, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's coming back to write a sequel to Hush.
Best artist ever.
Well, that's horseshit, but the rest of it, yes.
Awesome, dude. That's awesome.
So
Hush, I read it when it first came. No. I read it several years ago, but I need to refresh my memory on that book.
So maybe we can cover it later.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear about that. Wonder why they're deciding to break out these long sequels, I wonder.
I don't know.
It's like Hollywood's like, man, we can't come up with original stories, so we're going to have to.
Well, comics has always kind of done that.
They do.
You know?
Like, one thing I'm really glad about DC is that they haven't done a crisis event in a while. They haven't relaunched their universe.
That we know of.
That we know of. You're going to have to keep me informed to keep our listeners informed because you're the DC guy on this podcast. I'm not. I'm the Dynamite Skybound guy. You're the DC Marvel guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this was our first episode. You know, we took a break for a little while. Thank you for hanging around and dealing with the absence of the geeks. But we're back. We hope you enjoyed 2025. We hope you hang around with us. Like I said, we don't plan stuff. We just do it off the cuff. You know, whatever we think of that we might want to cover. And I hope that, you guys got enjoyment last year. And I hope you guys get enjoyment this year. And however many more years we do this for, we don't got no plans on that neither. It happens, So yeah. Sean, you got any departing words to say before we get out of here?
Is this the part where I pick the comic?
I'm sure, yeah. That and some wisdom for our listeners. Never
go out in the rain without your raincoat.
Well, you can't. Well, I thought it was an umbrella.
That was a sex reference. I used like the first time I stayed a night over at a friend's house. Well, not the first time, but when I was a teenager and the first time I went over to this dude's house, that was the first thing his mom said to me. I was like, okay. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I'll remember that for sure.
And I remembered it for this moment.
I was going to say, you've remembered it, yeah.
We're going with Tales of Suspense, number 39. I believe number 39. And it's the first appearance of Iron Man.
Awesome. Who or what is the newest, most breathtaking, most sensational superhero of all? Iron Man. I've never read the very first issue of Iron Man, appearance of Iron Man, excuse me.
That'll make two of us.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see how well it compares to the movie.
Yeah, because real quick, 2008, when I went and watched the Iron Man movie, that got me into collecting Iron Man comics for several years until I stopped collecting them. So, yeah. All right, everybody. So you just heard it here. Next episode, we'll be doing Tales of Suspense, number 39, the first appearance of Iron Man. I'm excited. Sean's excited. I hope you're excited because Iron Man is our hero for next episode. And I hope it looks cool. It's got the old suit, kind of how he had it in the first film and everything. So
I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man. Goodbye, everybody.
Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. We got beards, so listen clear. Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cuz. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's cool.